You're listening to the 40 Thrive Podcast, the show created for women 40 and beyond, ready to shake things up. And now, your host, Jackie McDougall.
Welcome to another episode of 40 Thrive. I'm so happy you're here. If you've been wanting to lose weight and you find yourself getting excited about the new fad diet, I'm here to let you off the hook. You don't need that. It's not for you. In fact, I'm so against all of the crazy messages the diet industry shoves down our throats, like literally trying to trigger our insecurities. We all know that's what they're doing, but they craft such compelling messages, don't they? The next thing you know, we're buying a Thigh Master or a giant bag of powder filled with ingredients we can't even pronounce. Today, you will meet Nagina Abdullah. Nagina lost 40 pounds over a period of several months and was going to just leave it at that. She was happy. She'd lost the weight. Move on, right? She was working long hours in her super successful day job, and she even had a couple kids at home. But more and more people would ask her for recipes and guidance, and Nagina finally followed that calling that led her to where she is now. She's a health coach for women professionals, physicians, and successful entrepreneurs. She works with those who have found success in so many areas, but just couldn't crack that weight loss code. Maybe you can relate to that. I talk to women all the time who are like, I can make a living, I can raise kids, I can buy a house, I can do this, I can move across the country, whatever, but I just can't lose weight. Well, Nagina says that no longer has to be the case. Take a listen to our conversation. And if you are as inspired as I am, check out Nagina's free 5-day Slim Down for Fierce Feminine Leaders. Starting March 8th, this 5-day, again, free event will blow your mind. From her metabolism boosting morning routine to her 4-part tested and perfected fat burning food framework. Plus, she shares how to get off sugar without feeling tired or restricted, and the truth about how to slim down without dieting. Totally sign me up. What do you have to lose? Just the weight. And gain energy and confidence without all the gimmicks and the BS marketing that's out there. I'm definitely going to check it out, and I invite you to join me for her free event. Visit 40thrive.com/episode 97 to register, or just look at the text in this episode, whatever app you're listening with. There'll be a link right there. So I hope to see you there. Okay, so if you're ready to look and feel your best, Nagina is going to walk us through how we can do that. Nagina, welcome to 40 Thrive.
Thank you so much, Jackie. I am really excited to be here today.
I have to bring it up because we were just talking before I started an online business. I watched your story when you were being interviewed by your brother years and years ago, and you were just breaking out. You were working full time. You had 2 kids. You had so much going on, and you were doing this online business. That has clearly blown up and worked out for you. So congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, I remember doing that interview with my brother Ramit. He really helped me get my business going. What happened is that I had lost a significant amount of weight after I had my 2 children. And I lost 40 pounds in 9 months. And then after I lost the weight, I was just going to move on and continue on with my life. And he was like, Nagina, you should teach people what you did. And I was ready to get on to the next thing, as many women do. We're like, okay, we don't acknowledge what we've done. We just keep thinking we have to do something else.
Right? It's never enough.
Exactly. So he really brought it to my attention, and he's like, you could help people. And that's where he had a whole way to teach how to create an online business. And I was like, oh my God, I never thought about that. And yes, this is my passion. I would love to teach other people. And it started from there.
And it's amazing. And as someone who leads a group of women over 40, I'm constantly saying that, you probably know something, or you have experience, or you have a passion that you could teach to others. There's probably a business within you. And so I'm glad that you brought it up, because it wasn't that you've got degrees, you've got tons of work experience and corporate experience. You wanted to do something because you were passionate about it. You educated yourself, you did the work, created an online business. There are no limits when it comes to creating your own business. And so you're an example of that.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. I didn't start where I am years later, but I started somewhere and I kept going. And what I realized is that having your own business, it gives you so much freedom to spend with your family, to not have to work the hours that you don't work. I mean, you still work hard. It's not like you don't work, but you don't have to be on a certain clock that's someone else's clock. You can be on your choice of clock.
Right.
So yes.
Flexibility is everything.
Yes.
So let's talk about your work. So you work with a lot of really high level women. I have to say that I have noticed that there are so many women who have accomplished so many things in their lives, but for some reason, weight loss seems to be that one thing that's like just out of reach. They're getting promotions. They're raising kids if that's what they choose to do. They're doing all these amazing things. They're traveling. And for some reason, they're like, I just can't lose weight. Why do you think that is?
That is so true, Jackie. I hear that so much. Something that a lot of women come to me and share is that they have everything in control in their life, but they haven't been able to crack the code on losing weight and doing it in a way where they're not on a yo-yo diet to lose the weight.
Yes.
And that's actually one of the biggest reasons that this is happening is because we as women, a lot of times are putting other people and other things first. And we are not allowing ourselves and giving ourselves the permission to put ourselves first, which means prioritizing our diet, prioritizing exercise, and doing it in the way where sometimes you can't spend time with your family, or sometimes you may feel like, okay, I have a deadline coming up. How do I balance these? But there's so many strategies where you actually don't have to make it a big time suck. Like it doesn't have to take a lot of time when you learn the right strategies. You don't have to spend hours exercising. You can do it in ways that fit into your life, but it really comes down to saying, I want to put myself first. And also for so many ambitious women, it's understanding there is a very direct relationship between how we take care of ourselves and the energy that we have to put towards our careers and our families.
So true.
Because a lot of times we don't see that. And as a result, we look at taking care of ourselves as something separate that we don't have time for, that we're going to get to after we reach our final goals. And that day keeps being pushed out and out. Yes. Whereas if we flip the script and actually realize that if we feel good in our bodies every day, we're going to get to our goals faster. Right. And we're also going to feel better about every moment while we're getting to our goals, or while we're trying to be the best mom or trying to be the best friend or whatever it may be. And so really like turning it around and saying, I actually need this so that I can become a better version of myself, and changing our mindsets around getting healthier.
There are, myself included, I'm going to call myself out. There are plenty of women who feel guilty when they're like, I'm going to make myself this meal because it feels good, or I'm going to go work out when the family has different expectations. Clearly, taking care of ourselves is, for the short term and the long term, the answer. It's not even debatable. Why do you think we feel so guilty doing it?
Yeah. And that definitely is such a big thing. It's like to have to leave your family and go exercise, or have to like take some time and prep your meal or cook your meal, or maybe eat separately. You feel guilty. And so many women feel like they want to give their all to their families and to their careers, and they don't want to take things away where they don't have to. And so if it comes to like working late hours, a lot of women will do that, but they won't necessarily go and make themselves a healthy meal. They won't necessarily go and make healthy choices for themselves. And so if you are feeling really down about yourself, or you're not feeling healthy, you're not feeling that energy, then even though you have more quantity of time with those around you, you're not giving your best. And so is that better?
So true.
I really want to give my best. I want to give my all. And that means that I need to feel good in my own body. I need to be at a healthy weight. And after the age of 40, it becomes more than feeling good and looking good. It's about health problems that will come. And it's about energy that is being zapped from us. And so it becomes even more important to put ourselves first before we're not able to do anything.
Right. The conversation is constantly about how we can live longer and not how we can live longer better.
Yes. Yes. That's so true.
I want to be that 80-year-old mall walker who's just like rocking the mall, still active and being able to do things. And it really depends on what we do now.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about metabolism. I feel like metabolism was one of those things that there's just a bunch of BS info about it, and we just take it as true.
Are you feeling like that we think our metabolism slows when we get into our 40s or perimenopause or things like that?
I think there are a lot of myths. I mean, that's one of them, right? Like metabolism slows, or this is just my metabolism versus somebody else's. So like, that's why they're thin and I cannot be thin. And I just think that there are a lot of stories around metabolism, and I am not the person who knows the answer. So can you kind of unpack that a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. Now, I actually used to think that I personally had a very slow metabolism. In fact, I would say that all the time. I was born with a slow metabolism. I was born with big bones. I don't have the genes to be thin. I could never wear a bathing suit, even though all my friends get to, and they eat cookies and chocolate, and I eat all healthy foods. And I never get to be that person feeling confident in a bikini. And that used to be my story. That was my story all the way up until after I had children. And then what I learned was you can actually boost your metabolism, and especially in your 40s and beyond, it is the number one strategy to lose weight. It's not about eating less. It's not about exercising more. How can you learn to boost your metabolism with the food that you're eating? And if you do that the right way, everyone can boost their metabolism, whether you're in perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, or whether you're not even there yet. And I've seen this time and time again where women have come to me and they've been stuck because they're in their 40s, or maybe because they're in menopause and what they were trying before is no longer working for them. Mm-hmm. Or they have the story that many women do, like I did, which is my metabolism's just slow. And so they'll feel like they're stuck and they can't move. And then when we start talking about what they're eating and how they're combining their foods, we find there's a lot that can be changed. This is probably going to be surprising. One of the easiest ways to boost your metabolism is to eat more. Eat more of the good foods. Eat more of the real foods. I see so many women eating less than they should be eating because we've been taught that to be at a weight that we want to, we should be eating less. And what happens when you're eating so little, or when you're eating just enough to get by, it's actually causing your metabolism to stay stagnant and you're not able to lose weight. So that's one of the main things, is to be able to actually have the right kinds of foods. And we can talk more in detail about what that means, but having the right balance of real foods and knowing that you should be eating enough so that you're satisfied all day. Like the moment you feel hungry, the moment you feel those hunger pangs or that sound starts coming from your stomach, you are slowing your metabolism from that.
Interesting.
And then for women that feel like they overeat because they have sugar cravings, when you're not eating the right amount of food, it causes you to have more sugar cravings, and sugar cravings will definitely bring your metabolism down. So boosting your metabolism is something very possible to do no matter what your body type, no matter what your history. And even if you've tried every single diet in the world and you failed at it, you just haven't learned how to boost your metabolism, because none of those diets teach you how to boost your metabolism. They just teach you how to eat less food. That's all.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think nobody else out there is doing that?
Because to actually do a lifestyle transformation, which is what I see as the only way that you should actually go about getting healthier and losing weight, is to actually create a lifestyle transformation, meaning changing your habits. You have to actually provide personalized support to be able to do that. Like Weight Watchers is selling on a mass scale and they want to sell their products. I'm not saying they don't have any helpful methods, because they absolutely do. In fact, I took Weight Watchers and I learned a lot about portion control that I wasn't aware of before I had taken Weight Watchers. But then the types of counting and the transactional way that you look at food, and you're counting your points, and then you're buying their meals that are small versions of processed foods, is never going to work for the long term. And it's never going to teach you to actually change your cravings for sugar or for salt or whatever it may be. So I don't know exactly why they're not doing it, but I do know that a lot of people respond to quick results and quick fixes. In fact, a lot of women are looking for that.
Right.
They'll say, I really need to lose weight by next week because I'm going to an event and I need to fit into my dress, or I'm going to my reunion and I need to look good for it, or I can't believe I've gained so much weight. I need to get rid of it now. And we have this culture of like, I want to get rid of it now, which leads to temporary actions like eating tiny portions of food, eating smaller versions of processed food, and not really uncovering the actual problems that are there, which are addiction to sugar, not knowing how to boost your metabolism by using real foods, not knowing how to pair your foods the right way. So all we know is diets, and that's what we respond to. So that's what the industry has been putting out there. That's a lot of what's happening, but there is a way to actually lose weight fairly quickly, and better yet, keep it off forever and get off that yo-yo when you create a lifestyle transformation.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, you could be going to that reunion, and if you're eating whole foods that are good for you, you're going to show it. You may not have lost the same weight that you did with the processed food diet, but you're going to show up, your skin is going to be glowing, you're going to be more confident. It's not always about the number on the scale. That's what makes me a little bit crazy.
Yeah, so that's part of it. But this is the thing, like if you actually create a lifestyle change, then you can put your bikini on in February. And when I say that, I mean that you are always 365 days of the year in shape. Anything can come up and you are ready to go. You can fit into every outfit and you don't have multiple sizes of clothing in your closet because those are like your fat clothes and those are your skinny clothes.
Get out of my head, girl.
And I'm only saying this because I've talked to hundreds and thousands of women. And in fact, I was that person. I had my fat clothes and my skinny clothes, you know? So it's like, there's a beauty where you can actually build a wardrobe. Like every single year, you're adding to your wardrobe in the same exact size. And you have confidence that you're going to stay at the same size. So when you actually look at your weight loss as getting to it with a lifestyle transformation, you take step-by-step approaches to get there. And you do see a lot of weight loss. It does happen quickly, but you're not only doing it for one event, you're doing it to create that change in how you live. And then it stays there forever.
Absolutely. Will you teach us how to boost our metabolism? Because, you know, we're struggling here.
Oh, I totally get it. I know, because we're not sure what that means. How do we boost our metabolism? What do we do? You know, all we've learned in the past is like, we're supposed to eat less calories and we're supposed to count our food, track our points or whatever it may be.
Right.
One of the best ways that I would love to share this detail to boost your metabolism is that you do want to eat all of the food groups, meaning you want to eat carbs because it does boost your metabolism to eat the right kinds of carbs.
Right.
You want to eat healthy fats, you want to eat protein, and you want to eat vegetables. And so putting this together, I created a framework, which is called the Tested and Perfected Fat Burning Food Framework. And when you eat according to this very simple framework, then you stop feeling guilty and stop wondering, what am I eating? Am I eating the right things? Should I be eating this? Should I follow that diet? And you just are eating real foods. And it's very simple. So the fat burning food framework means that there's 3 principles that are there. One is that I can eat more of the right foods when they're real foods. Real foods mean foods that are not out of a package. And of course, there's going to be times when you eat that. So I eat cookies, I eat pizzas, I eat ice cream. You don't have to not eat those, but it's not on a regular basis, not like part of your everyday routine.
Right. And you do start to notice when you do eat those things that they don't feel or taste all that good.
Oh my gosh. It's so true. When you start taking those things down and you start adding all the good foods and then you go and try those, you're like, oh my God, I just feel so awful right now. And
isn't that wild?
Yeah. You can't believe you were doing that to yourself for so long when that happens. And we get used to feeling like that. Like we just think it's normal to feel bloated. We feel like it's normal to feel low energy, and it's not. Even in your 40s, 50s, 60s and beyond, like you should be feeling high energy. If you're feeling low energy, there's something going on with how you're fueling your body. It's not that you're in your 40s and you feel like, oh, I'm the age this happens. It doesn't have to happen. That's a myth.
Right.
So I can eat more is one of what I call a mantra of the fat burning food framework. Yep. 2 more. One is protein more. So you really want to prioritize having protein at every single meal, starting with your breakfast, because when you add protein, that is the number one way to boost your metabolism because it makes you more full. Your body is often craving protein. When you think that it's craving sugar, it's because you haven't eaten enough protein and your body's calling out for more food, but it's feeling like sugar cravings.
Right.
Having more protein is really, really key. I recommend all proteins that are natural foods. I help a lot of vegans and vegetarians, so I'll talk about that also, but I'll start with non-vegetarians. So having any kind of animal protein, if you eat meat, whether it's chicken, fish, even beef, turkey, white fish is what I call a wonder food because it's so high protein. If you can learn the nice recipe, and that's really what all it is, because a lot of people give me feedback like, I don't like white fish, and then they try the recipes that we have and they're like, oh my God, my whole family ate the white fish recipe. Wow. I'm like, yeah, because you put these spices on them. That's another thing I'll share with you about how to boost metabolism is through using metabolism boosting spices, and it makes your food taste good. So those are some non-veg proteins. And then vegetarian proteins are Greek yogurt or cottage cheese. Those 2 are pasteurized in a different way. So they don't have as much sugar and they have much more protein. So they are healthier if you're open to having them.
Okay, Greek yogurt and cottage cheese. And then when you get the cottage cheese, the way we grew up too is you don't want too much fat. Now we want a lot of fat. So what kind of cottage cheese are you buying? Are you buying the sort of middle of the road, full fat, no fat?
So the way that I would prioritize it is that you want to prioritize your protein. So one of the kinds that I've seen that's the best, it's called Friendship 1%. It's usually only available on the East Coast. I find that people on the West Coast don't find it, but it has 18 grams of protein per half cup.
Nice.
And so you can still find a different version of that. I don't even care what the calories are, as long as the sugar is low and the protein is high. That's how I teach my clients to read a nutrition label. Like the calories, don't even think about it, because when you get the right ingredients and you get the right portions of other things, it doesn't matter. The calories are going to be the right amount for you.
Right.
Like upping your protein with that and then keeping your sugar low is really key. And fat, it's like fine to have some fat in there.
It's not a huge difference when you actually look at the fat percentage between like low fat and full fat, depends on the brand. But I think that's freeing for you to say, check the protein, check the sugar, and then you're good to go. I mean, you talk about the women that you work with, they're very busy. They've got a lot going on, a lot of balls in the air. And so I don't want to put my calories into an app. I don't want to do it.
Totally. I get it. Oh my God. No, I mean, it's like, that's so much thinking. It's so much time. It's so, oh my gosh, it just takes too long. It's very tedious to do that. And so you don't have to, when you're looking at your foods and you're prioritizing types of foods, instead of actually looking in so much detail. Of course, if you're eating different kinds of processed foods and you're eating different combinations, you're not sure, you're not simplifying. When you simplify and you eat the right foods, then you can eat more, you can feel full and satisfied, and you're getting the right amount. So,
right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So take us to point number 3.
Okay. Number 3 for the fat burning food framework is tasty vegetables, and having tasty vegetables be a part of your day. And so I want to differentiate this from just eating vegetables. Of course, we know we're supposed to eat vegetables. Everyone knows that. That's why so many people, we try to feed our kids vegetables and then we don't eat the vegetables because we don't want to eat it. And so the reason we're not eating vegetables is because it doesn't taste good. We don't know how to make them taste good. Otherwise, we would be eating them.
Right.
Tasty vegetables is really key. And one of the ways that I recommend making vegetables tasty is by using metabolism boosting spices on your vegetables. So for example, what you could do is you could set your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, spray the baking pan with cooking spray. I recommend cooking spray. And then you could put any vegetables on that tray. I often even use frozen vegetables just because they're so easy to use and because I always have them. Like I don't have to worry about things going bad.
Right.
Or you could use fresh vegetables like asparagus or fresh broccoli or fresh cauliflower. So what you could do is put fresh or frozen broccoli or cauliflower or red bell peppers or green bell peppers, put them on a tray, and then use some metabolism boosting spices. So a really good blend is to use cumin, coriander, and a tiny bit of either paprika or cayenne pepper. And I could actually share some of the benefits of those if you would like me to.
Yes, please.
So what cumin does, it's actually been proven in multiple studies from Harvard and Tufts and all around the world that if you have a half teaspoon to a teaspoon a day for 3 months, you will burn 30% more belly fat than if you didn't.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Belly fat. So it's really amazing. And even if you don't do it every day, even if you do it sometimes, you're going to get benefits from it. And then you're adding it to your vegetables. So you're increasing the amount of vegetables that you're eating. So cumin is one. So it doesn't really matter about the amount, like for a whole tray, you could do like 2 teaspoons for the whole tray and that would be enough.
Okay.
I also recommend combining it with coriander, and coriander is a tangy spice. So it really matches well because it's tangy and it's fresh. And what coriander does is it helps decrease water retention, or it helps decrease bloating in your belly, in your face, anywhere else that you may be feeling water retention. And so you're getting that debloating effect. And then if you use a little bit of paprika, if you don't like spicy food, or cayenne pepper, if you like spicy food, cayenne pepper and paprika, they both have this compound called capsaicin. And capsaicin, it helps you to actually speed up your metabolism. And it also helps to curb your appetite. You're not as hungry. So you're getting like double time action to help yourself get to your fat loss goals.
Right.
So having a tray of that, put it in the oven for 15 minutes, and then you have a side for at least 3 to 4 meals, because I recommend having at least a cup of vegetables. and then it's ready and done. And that's the other thing for busy women. We don't have time to like think and to cook for every single meal, especially right now. Many of us are on Zoom all day long.
Yes.
We have like 5 minutes, if even that, to go and grab something. So if it's already made, because you made it on a big tray, you go in the fridge, you put it on a plate and you warm it up along with the rest of your meal. It's so good.
Yeah.
You're taking care of yourself and you're not spending all this extra time.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. And so you mentioned breakfast before. What kind of breakfast are you recommending to your clients that have protein? Is it always eggs? Is it like eggs every day?
No, it's not eggs every day, though eggs are a great source of protein for the morning. They're super easy. They're excellent. And for those that are eating eggs, I actually recommend that you have 2 eggs plus a little bit of egg whites, whether it's a 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup of liquid egg whites, or whether it's 1 to 3 egg whites, like from a full egg. And that's because you want to get about 30 grams of protein for each meal. That's what's really helping us get to like a baseline place where we have enough protein. And women are greatly under eating protein. And it's one of the reasons our metabolism is so low, or like you feel like your metabolism may be low. So when you get 2 eggs, that's 12 grams of protein. And when you do 3 egg whites or a 1/2 cup, that's 12 more grams of protein. So you're getting 24 grams of protein instead of only 12 grams. And what happens is if you only eat 2 eggs, you end up feeling hungry and you want to have bread and you want to have a mid-morning snack that's like high unhealthy carbs. And so when you give yourself the right protein, you keep yourself full and satisfied, and then you're not craving those other foods. And you could also have low sugar fruit, like berries or tangerines with your morning eggs. So that's one option.
Okay.
I also love having, and I love recommending this, and my clients love this, is having a metabolism boosting morning smoothie.
Oh.
And that's so fast. It's so quick. You just need to have a really good protein powder. It is okay to have protein powder if you just look at the ingredients. I recommend having a vegan or a whey protein powder, but if you have another one, it's still going to be okay. Either protein powder or Greek yogurt, using that in your smoothie. And then you can put things like I have this one called Metabolism Mint and Berry Morning Smoothie. And you put a scoop of protein powder, you put a cup of water or almond milk, which makes it creamier and kind of like a milkshake. Then you can use a cup of spinach, which may sound different, but when you actually blend it in there with the protein powder, you can't even taste it. And then you get a whole cup of spinach, which is just, oh my gosh, helping you in so many ways with digestion, with energy, so many things. You can add a 1/2 cup of berries or strawberries. And then you do what I call my secret ingredient, which is 2 tablespoons of flax seeds. And flax seeds keep you really full, so you're not having those cravings over the course of the morning. And if you even do this breakfast for 3 days, you'll notice that your weight is slipping off.
Really?
Yes. And you feel amazing. And I do recommend you have them putting in 5 to 6 mint leaves with them, because it adds a freshness. And also mint has been proven to decrease overeating and decrease sugar cravings.
Interesting.
This is a favorite of a lot of my clients. And seriously, because you're adding more protein, you're not feeling hungry, you're not adding all the unhealthy carbs, your fat melts away. That's what happens. And you're not hungry. That's also important. So yeah. And then having like a Greek yogurt parfait is also a good idea for the morning. It's another option, like Greek yogurt with berries, some chia seeds or some nuts or both if you want, and some cinnamon. Cinnamon is a spice that lowers your blood sugar. So it gives you that sweet kick without your insulin spiking. So basically what ends up is that you get the sweetness without storing fat like you would if you were eating sugar.
That's great. So when we're talking about parfait, we're not talking about going to McDonald's and getting their parfait.
Yeah. And we're also not talking about going to Starbucks either.
Yes. So when you bring your clients in, is that where they find like smoothie recipes? Can we find all of these things on your website? Because I do want to talk about something you have coming up, but you've mentioned so many things that I want to make sure that if anyone wants to link to them, like the smoothie recipe or any of this, can they find it on your website?
Yeah, actually on my website at mochmasalabody.com, you can enter your name and email and you'll get my free recipe book, which is 7 metabolism boosting spiced recipes to lose your first 7 pounds. It includes my metabolism morning mint and berry smoothie. It's the first recipe there, plus 6 more really delicious family friendly recipes.
Awesome. And so you have something coming up that I know my audience will be jonesing for. So 5 days, tell me a little bit about it.
Oh, yes. Well, I'm so excited. I'm going to be hosting a 5-day slim down workshop, and it's called the 5-day slim down for fierce feminine leaders. Every day, I'm going to be teaching in depth for 1 hour on live video. So you're going to see all my imperfections. I'm going to be teaching about the metabolism boosting morning routine, which is exactly what to have in your morning to boost your metabolism. I'm going to be talking about mind-blowing mindsets, which are so key and so important for us to give ourselves that permission to lose weight. And I'm also going to be talking more in detail about the fat burning food framework, including exact quantities and exact ways to combine each meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and also how to get off sugar. And so I would be so excited for those of you that would want to learn those strategies and teachings. And you can get your spot by going to masalabody.com/slim down. And it's completely free. And I just want to give you everything that I didn't know that took me so many years and decades. And that I really thought was never possible for me. And I just want to share it all with you because once you learn these strategies and you learn how to make your food taste amazing and make it easy, your weight will literally melt away and it becomes a lifestyle where you seriously can jump in the pool in February and have your bathing suit on. And that's just what it is. You're like constantly in shape and it feels easy because you love what you're eating every single day.
Right. And I think so many people are afraid, like, oh, if I do this and then I'll miss the cake or I'll miss the alcohol. But in actuality, when you start to eat like this, you don't miss any of that, right?
Oh, that's such a good question. Thank you so much for bringing that up, Jackie. And it's so true. That is the thought. So I can tell you, I actually eat all of those things that you said. And I actually make it mandatory for my clients. They have to eat their pizza, chocolate, have their wine if they want to, they can drink. But what we do is we balance it. And when you start eating according to the fat burning food framework and you start getting that morning routine in, then you don't have the cravings for those things.
Right.
You still enjoy them, but you choose them. They don't choose you.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. It's a very different way where so every Saturday, for example, I have a tradition in our family where we go to this beautiful, amazing bakery in our town. And my daughter gets donuts, my son gets cookies, my husband gets croissants, and I get a chocolate croissant. And I look forward to it every single week. And I indulge in that. But then I eat it and I'm like, oh my God, it was exactly what I wanted. And now I'm looking forward to the other foods that I have. So you change your cravings, but you still can choose those things when you want to have them.
Right. And that chocolate croissant is exactly what I would have chosen as well. But it's wild, I mean, I still have a long way to go, but one of the things I did get rid of is sugar. I don't miss it at all. I'll have it on occasion. I still love dark chocolate and I'll get my square. I get a square to 2 squares a day, but the processed foods, they just don't even appeal to me anymore, which is fun.
Yeah. Because you realize how it makes you feel, right? When you eat it. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's a huge point for a lot of women in their 40s and 50s and 60s, that we start to notice that foods that we quote unquote loved no longer make us feel good. And so I think in the back of our brain, the subconscious is like, that's okay. You can eat it. That's what you do. That's what you love. But our conscious mind is like, I don't even feel good. Why am I doing this to myself? And so I think you're really opening some minds to looking at food as what it was meant to do, fuel you. And yeah, it tastes good. And there's some fun ways to prepare it, but it shouldn't be something that makes you feel terrible.
Oh my gosh, that's such a good point. I just love that you brought that up because it's true. We still enjoy ice cream, chocolate, things like that. But if I'm going to eat a chocolate chip cookie, I don't want a Chips Ahoy cookie, right?
Yeah.
If I'm going to have a chocolate chip cookie, I want a fresh cookie from the bakery.
Yes.
And so we still tend to think of those things as treats when they're not even good. We don't even like them and they make us feel horrible, but yet we've been taught that those things taste good. And so that is so true. It's like disconnecting from what we've been taught because we do have different feelings of how food makes us feel and what we actually like now. Your tastes can change over time. So yeah,
absolutely. And they can change if you maybe didn't like something that is good for you. Keep trying it in different ways. I like that you bring up the spices and different ways to prepare it because let's be honest, we're Gen X, some boomers, and we had canned vegetables, and I didn't see a lot of fresh vegetables as one of 13 kids in my family.
Oh
and
my
gosh.
Yeah.
And so we had a lot, we always had vegetables, but it was canned. That's the way it was. And so I think it's important to explore a little bit as we go and not just telling yourself that same story. Oh, I don't like that. Maybe you do. Maybe you do just in a different way.
So true.
You know?
I totally agree. Yes.
Yeah. So 2 more things I have to ask. So number 1, you mentioned a few times about combining foods. How important is that?
Yeah, it is very important to learn how to combine your foods because it's the secret. It unlocks feeling satisfied and feeling full. If you have certain foods on their own, they don't complete your satisfaction. And so you're just like left eating a lot of one kind of foods. It could be that you are having a sandwich for lunch and you didn't have enough protein in your sandwich. You didn't have enough veggies in your sandwich. And so you didn't pair it the right way, meaning you didn't pair your protein, your veggies, and then also having like a healthy carb is also important too. But if you end up not eating enough and not having all those elements, you end up craving more of the carbs, usually that aren't healthy. And so when you have a healthy carb, like a healthy bread or sweet potatoes, or there's multiple.
What does a healthy bread look like?
Oh, a healthy bread is like a sprouted grain bread. There's one called Ezekiel bread. It's in the freezer section. Yeah. Like that's a good bread, or a high fiber bread, and just maybe eating an open face sandwich. Maybe that's what would be best.
Right. So every day we're being bombarded with these messages. Finally, we have the answer, but you know that what you're trying to teach is whole foods and balance and a lifestyle. How do you fight against the messaging that is out there? It's a machine of messaging.
Oh, yes, I know. And I also hear a lot of intermittent fasting, keto.
Yes.
There's a lot of things. And the thing is, like, all of those can work. So it's not that they can't help you lose weight. They can. People have lost 50 to 100 pounds doing each of those methods or more. It's not that they can't work. But what I always want to know is, are you going to keep this weight off? Because so many hundreds of women come to us and they say that I was able to lose 40 pounds, but then I put it back on.
Right.
And so when you follow those methods, you're going to often put them back on, because a keto diet is not a healthy way to live. It's actually unhealthy. Doctors do not recommend it for the long term. So it's a strategy to lose the weight, but then it's like, we have to think what's going to happen when we get there. And sometimes the only way that a woman may think that is if she's already been through this. She's already lost the weight in an unhealthy way, and then she put it back on. And so what I just keep teaching is that you have to actually enjoy your path of losing weight. Like, you have to like what you're eating as you're losing weight. You cannot feel restricted, because what are you going to do when you get there? You have to actually continue to have a healthy lifestyle. You can't just have a healthy lifestyle until you lose weight and then have an unhealthy lifestyle and expect to stay at that weight.
Right.
So really actually working on totally changing your cravings from underneath, learning how to pair your food so that you're full and satisfied, and learning how to enjoy your healthy foods by using things like metabolism boosting spices, and learning how to cook it in an easy way. Those are the methods that help you get to a lifestyle transformation, so that once you lose that 20, 40, or whatever it may be pounds that someone may want to lose, you're like, I kind of want to keep doing this. And then you stay at your weight.
That sounds pretty damn amazing. So I'm going to link to all things Nagina on your website, your 5-day free event, your spices, the 7 recipes, the metabolism boosting. You've got so much going on. I love it. I really appreciate your expertise and everything you're doing to keep us healthy.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. I feel like we really got into some really good information, and it's so possible for women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s to have a fast metabolism, to be healthy, to burn fat, and to do it in a way where they're able to balance it out with everything else going in their life, and just like have it as part of their life. And it's so possible. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. And it's not like, okay, take 2021 to lose weight, and then 2022, you can go back to your old ways. It's a lifestyle change that will only help you and everyone around you. Thanks, Nagina.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you so much for listening. We keep the conversation going in our free and private Facebook group, so make sure you join us over there. Also, if you have any questions, comments, wishes, hopes, dreams of something you'd like to hear on 40 Thrive, send us an email at hello@40thrive.com. Until next time, take care and keep thriving. Spring has sprung, and with the change of seasons, sometimes comes an increase in vitality. If you're feeling in the mood for a little more personal time, may I suggest Coconut. Coconut is all about providing clean and natural ingredients when you're enjoying your most intimate moments, with or without a partner. Naturally safe products developed by people who are obsessed with quality. Get 15% off with promo code GROWNASS at grownasswoman.guide/coconut. That's 15% off with promo code GROWNASS at grownasswoman.guide/coconut.